Charlotte. He's been their third leading scorer in the playoffs. What a season he's had.
Brown goes inside. Oh, what a slam from the Panthers have a 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure. So the ball is out in the end zone. And it's Wheeler finds Claude from the logo. Edelman in motion. Edelman takes the swing pass. Edelman's going to throw. He's down to
All right, welcome back, everyone. Week 15 NFL picks. We are done with bye weeks. Last week we had 6 teams on bye. We didn't have a video out, but we do this week. But last week I still documented my picks, and I went 10-3 last week. Jonathan also went 10-3, but we did have a couple picks that were different. I picked the 49ers to beat the Bears last week, and he picked the Bears to beat the 49ers. But I was wrong about another game. Last week I picked the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks, and the other two picked the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals, so that put me in the hole a little bit. But we'll start off with a good game potentially here. We have the Rams coming off of a huge win over the Bills. I did not see that coming at all. I completely got that game wrong.
Yep, so did I.
The Rams' offense could not be stopped against the Bills. The Rams are on a really hot streak right now. They have a ton of momentum. The 49ers are coming off of a very one-sided win as well, but I still feel like the Rams have a lot more momentum. They've put a lot more wins together recently than the 49ers have. The 49ers keep suffering injuries. McCaffrey out for the year officially now. I feel like the two teams are kind of going opposite directions here. So normally I would probably pick the 49ers to win this one. It's in San Francisco. Rams don't always play well against teams with good pass rushers, but I'm going to take the Rams. I just think they have the momentum here, and I think their offense has it together a lot better than the 49ers do.
I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm pretty sure the Rams have beat the 49ers about 4 times in a row now. And I just think they're going to keep this formula going. They're just going to keep winning.
I'm also going to go with the Rams. I think the 49ers are on a downward trend. A lot of it due to injuries. And the Rams are got things figured out, and they're playing really good football right now. And you get all their weapons together, and they can put up some points. As you saw last week against the Bills, they put up a lot of points. So I'm going to go with the Rams. I think the 49ers might as well just pack it in for the rest of the season. Not last week, but the week before that, I went 16-0, undefeated for the week. And then last week, I was 11-2. So I'm 27-2 in the last 2 weeks. 150 and 58 for this season.
139 and 69.
And I'm 141 and 67. I'm staying in second place. I'm not dropping down any lower.
Yeah, we could talk a little baseball now. It was really good to see the Mets, who have always been the little brother in New York, take over and become big brother. Stealing Juan Soto from the Yankees. That was worth the $800 million right there.
Yeah, I'm going to start playing baseball.
Yeah, no kidding. And then they took Clay Holmes from the Yankees also. So I hear all the Yankee haters out there now telling about, oh, Juan Soto's not that great. He can't play the field, blah, 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 blah. Stop your whining. When you had him, you thought he was the greatest thing that ever happened. And now that he's a New York Met, you're just being a bunch of babies. And get used to being the second team in New York, because the Mets own New York now.
I am loving watching the Yankee fans have meltdowns as they cry, hugging their wall, because they all have Soto jerseys. They all have the Soto jerseys, and they just bought them last year, and they're all crying now, trying to cope with the fact that he's not on their team anymore, trying to reason in their heads how it's not that bad, but deep down they know.
They do know.
They know. All right, so now on to our 1 p.m. games. We have the Cowboys at the Panthers. This one, it was a tricky one to pick.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Panthers for this one. They've been playing pretty good football the last few weeks. They were a dropped catch away from beating the Eagles. It was a perfect pass by Bryce Young, who's been playing really good the past few weeks too.
Yeah.
They almost beat the Chiefs. Who knows? Micah Parsons might just tear up the O-line. It feels like the Cowboys players were putting up a decent fight against the Bengals last week. So I don't think they were completely packing it in against them. But you can tell the Cowboys players are really frustrated. And although the Panthers are in no position to do anything the rest of the year, Bryce Young is still kind of playing for his career right now, trying to put together
Yes,
some good
he
games and show people that he can play. So he is playing with a purpose, and I think the Cowboys are a team that the Panthers could knock off. I'm gonna give them a chance. I'm gonna go with the home team here, and see if they can beat the Cowboys. This does feel like a type of game the Cowboys would lose to the Panthers, so I'll go with the Panthers, but I could see either team winning this. I could see Cooper Rush having a great game and CeeDee Lamb, and it could be a shootout. I think it will be a shootout, and I think the Panthers could win this one.
I was kind of hoping you'd pick the Cowboys because I wanted to pick the Panthers, and I'm still going to pick the Panthers. But, I don't know. I do know that the Panthers are actually favored in a game. I think 1.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I think they're
for the
1.5
first
point
time
favorites.
since 2022. The Panthers are
Wow.
the favorites in the game.
Wow.
Cowboys have done the unthinkable.
Boy, have they ever. I, on the other hand, I'm going to take the Cowboys, which is against what I've been doing all year for the most part. But the Cowboys are on the road, which is where they do most of their winning. They're not at home, and they played fairly well against the Bengals last week. Bryce Young's been playing good. I mean, I think the Cowboys could very easily lose this game, but I think since they're on the road, I'm gonna take the Cowboys.
All right, now we have the largest spread in the entire NFL season, maybe NFL history. We
Maybe
have
history.
the Ravens at the Giants. I'm going to spend about 10 seconds on this. I'm picking the Ravens. Hopefully they have a nice injury-free game, can keep focusing on the playoffs, and that pretty much sums it up there.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens, and pick them to cover.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, next up we have the game of the week. Jets at Jaguars. The Jaguars, that was another game I got wrong last week. They beat the Titans somehow, like 10-6 or something. I don't think the Jaguars have scored more than like 10 or 13 points since starting Mac Jones, though, which sounds about right because we didn't either when he was on the
Right.
Patriots. The Jets have been scoring about 17, 20 points a game, but still losing because they're still really bad. And it's just fun to watch them have an absolute meltdown every week.
Yes.
Normally, I would just hate to pick the Jets, but they are playing the one team I will pick them against. I'll take them over the Jaguars. I don't really care who wins. I just
Right.
I just think the Jets have been averaging more points than the Jaguars. I don't think the Jaguars are. I don't think they have the capability to score more than 10 points right now. I think that's their cap, and I think the Jets have a better chance of scoring more than 10 points. So I'll just go with the Jets.
I think the Jaguars are going to beat themselves, so...
Well, I'm taking the Jets, and that's all I got to say about it. It's going to be the worst game. Nobody's going to even watch it.
All right, next we have the Commanders at the Saints. The Saints are starting another quarterback, I think, for the first time this year. Not sure who it is. I completely forgot who it was. I think Washington should win this one. They're a pretty good team, and they're going against a really bad team, so that should equal a win for them. I don't see how they should have an issue, really. Going against a quarterback who's never played before, I have no idea why they would lose that game. So Washington wins. Saints are packed in for the year, too.
I see this being one of those games that Washington scores 40 points and it's like 40-6. I don't think the Saints are going to get anything moving on offense. I don't even know who the dude is. I've never heard of him in my life. I don't know who the Saints are starting at quarterback.
You can tell we didn't really do much research before this.
Yeah. I am also picking the Commanders. They're just a better team. Plain and simple.
Next up, we have the Bengals at the Titans. Bengals definitely, even against the Cowboys, they struggled with
They
that
did.
defense of theirs. But they got the job done, and the Titans are a worse team than the Cowboys, so I still don't see the Bengals losing this one either. Bengals should win this one. They're trying to fight to keep their playoff hopes alive. They have about a 1% chance of making the playoffs, but their offense is just absolutely amazing. And as bad as their defense is, I don't think they really need a good defense to stop the Titans. So this should be one of their less stressful wins, but you never know what could happen with the Bengals.
Never know.
Yeah, I think I'll just go with the Bengals, put up like 45 points or so. And I highly doubt the Titans are going to put up 45 plus points, so should be an easy Bengals win.
Should be.
Should be.
Anyways, I am also taking the Bengals. I think their offense is more explosive. They can put points on the board. Hopefully the Bengals defense will be able to hold the Titans down, which they should be able to do.
Now we get into some better games. we have the Dolphins at the Texans. I did consider taking the Dolphins for this game because they aren't playing in the north. They're playing against another warm weather team, which is good for them. However, for some reason, I just feel like the Texans defense matches up really well against that Dolphins offense. The Dolphins have been heading and trending into the right direction. They have to win every game to make the playoffs and some. And the Texans, they've been kind of hit or miss this year. They've had some bad games and good games, but they're at home, and I really think this Texans defense is going to match up really well against the Dolphins. I think it could be a higher scoring game, but I think the Texans are going to actually win this one. Nico Collins, let's not forget, he's healthier, and I think with every week, their offense will become a little more in sync. I think the Texans win this one in a close one. And I think the Texans can win this one because of their defense. So that's what I'm going to go with here.
I'm making the Texans purely out of the fact that I need the Dolphins to lose extremely bad.
Well, I'm picking the Dolphins to win this.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I think the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a close game. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins to win this one.
All right, so next up we have the Chiefs at the Browns. Chiefs have won so many games at the last minute with so many different crazy ways. However, as fun as the Browns have been to watch this second half of the season, Jameis Winston, even though he's prayed about it, has not been delivered from throwing his pick sixes yet, obviously from last week. And the Chiefs do have a very good defense, so I think he's going to probably throw a few more pick sixes this week. And maybe the Chiefs will still need a last-minute thing to happen. They probably will, because they did against even the Raiders. And who knows, this could be one of those trap games where the Chiefs just lose and Jameis Winston throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. But I have a feeling 2 of those touchdowns will be to the opposite team. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I think their defense is way too much for the Browns to handle, and I think the Chiefs' defense alone will kind of win them the game here. So I'm going to roll with the Chiefs. They keep finding ways to win.
Yeah, I think that the Chiefs' kryptonite is just the regular season Bills. And I don't see them really losing any other games on the schedule except maybe Week 18 if they already have the 1 seed locked up. Might rest their starters, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs. You know, they'll probably win on a 75-yard field goal with 1 second left because it bounces off the ref's head and goes in the uprights.
But the win's a win.
Win's a win. I also am taking the Chiefs.
I'm going to take a quick break and give a shout out to our friends over at BrickBox. This is their Christmas trio that just came out on their website. You can check it out. There's Every Holiday Joe, which is a coffee and maple scented bar. What do you have in your hand?
I've got the Juniper Ridge, which is a cranberry and balsam bar.
Yep.
And I have Christmas Cabin. Cypress black pepper. Smells pretty good. I would definitely use it.
They have some really good products. They smell really good. And they're a lot more natural. They're made in smaller batches than some of the bigger companies out there. So check out their website. I'll leave the link in the comments down below. BrickBox soap. Really good stuff. Great shipping. Check them out.
Check them out. Smells good.
All right, so next up, we have the Colts at the Broncos. We have the Broncos playing in Mile High, and they are sitting in a good spot right now. They are the 7th seed. They're playing the Colts, who are trying to fight their way back into the playoff picture, and I don't think that happens. I don't see a way that the inconsistent quarterback Anthony Richardson is going to be able to beat the Broncos defense. That Broncos defense is good.
They are good.
Last time they played a mobile quarterback was against Lamar Jackson, and he tore them to shreds. So there is a world potentially where they might give up some points, but there's a big difference between Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson.
Big.
Zay Flowers tore us to shreds.
Okay.
We're not playing Zay Flowers.
Let me finish. You'll have your turn. Either way, I think the Broncos are definitely the much more well-put-together team. They've been playing really well together. They seem to be getting better and better throughout the season. The defense is playing well. Offense is playing really well. And the Colts are just too inconsistent. And they're playing on the road. So I don't see them winning this game. The only way I see the Colts winning is if Richardson has a flawless game with no mistakes, and the Broncos do make some mistakes on offense and make some dumb plays. That's the only way I see the Colts winning this game, but I'm not going to bet on it. I'm going to take the Broncos. I think it's definitely the safe pick in this game. I don't think it will be that close either.
I agree with you, but I am 8-3 with this formula, so I'm going to do it. This is the biggest game of the Broncos season. It's the biggest game in years. If we win the game,
boy.
we've got a 95% chance to make the playoffs. We right now have a 77.
Okay,
If
all
we
right.
lose, it goes to 46%.
All right.
It's not looking good if we lose. So I'm gonna pick the Colts for the reverse psychology.
Well, since Broncos are not my favorite team, I am going to pick the Broncos because I think they're going to win. And I'm going for W's
Yeah,
so we can shave your eyebrows at the end of the season.
That's not the punishment.
it is.
That is not.
It could be.
2 out of 3.
We're not doing it.
Then you better start winning. The Broncos will win this game, I believe. They're playing. They seem like they're getting better every week. So I have to go with the Broncos. Colts, they're a mediocre team.
All right, next we have Patriots at Cardinals. The Cardinals have blown it. They were first place in the division, and they've lost back-to-back games. They've really blown it. Patriots, honestly, we're just playing for that draft pick.
Yep.
We might right now if we don't win any more games, we will be able to draft Travis Hunter. And even if we do lose a game, we can still go after McMillan. So we have a wide receiver within reach here, which is exactly what Drake May needs. So I'm hoping the Patriots lose this game, and I'm picking them to lose. I'm picking the Cardinals. I really believe the Patriots always have the potential to beat a team that's mediocre like the Cardinals, with as good as Drake May is. But unfortunately, we just have much less talent on our roster than they do. So I'll go with the Cardinals. They're at home, but I can see the Patriots winning this game. I see them winning a lot of games that they don't win, but
You're right.
I could see them winning
Yes,
this
you do.
game.
I'll pick the Cardinals. I don't have much reason for it. I just think it'll be a bad game.
But New England, like Jacob said, they're playing for a draft pick right now.
They're bad.
And there's some good players out there, and for them to get. So I don't think they're really too anxious to beat anyone.
No.
I'm picking the Cardinals to win.
All right. Next up, we have the Bills at the Lions.
Yeah,
This
game of
is
the month.
this could be the best game of the week for sure. I thought about this game for a very long time. I'm sure everyone watching this video has thought about this one for a long time. Put in the comments who you think is going to win this one. I want to hear who everyone has to pick in this one.
Yeah.
The Bills, their game last week is influencing my decision a little bit. That defense was horrible last week, and I'm not saying they're going to play like that this week, but that is concerning. That defense was very concerning. I don't know how you make a deep run in the playoffs when your defense does that. It needs to play significantly better. They're going against a Lions team who they had a nice win last week, but they had their moments. I'm going to go with the Lions to win this one. And I'm just going to try to simplify it. The Lions have lost one game this year, and they haven't lost since week 2. Doesn't mean they can't lose, but I'm just going to keep it simple. They have a better record. Their defense, I think, might be a little better. They have a great wide receiver with Amon-Ra. They have a good tight end. They have 2 star running backs. I think they just have more star power. It took Josh Allen 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns to keep his team in the game, and they still lost. I think it's just too much pressure on him going against a team that's this well-rounded. I think the Lions win this one.
This one didn't take me too long because I just trust the Lions to win. The Lions defense is injured though,
It is.
so I can see this being a similar game to the Bills game last week where it's like 44-42.
Could be
but
very
the
close.
Lions offense is so high powered, and the Bills defense is concerning. So I don't know. The Lions have put up 50 points a few times this year. They might do it again.
I am taking the Lions over the Bills. It's going to be a toughie. The Bills losing last week, I don't think they're going to want to lose 2 in a row like that. The Lions are just, I think they're a better team. They're well coached. Their offense is really, really good. Their defense has been good, even with all the injuries they've had. Would I be surprised if Buffalo wins this game? Not at all. Not at all, but and it would almost do the Lions good to lose a game before the playoffs. It's hard to go from week 3 all the way through the Super Bowl and not lose. They're on a roll, and they're going to want to lock up that number 1 seed too, because the Vikings and Eagles are not that far behind them. I'm going with the Lions. I think they're going to win, especially being at home. It's going to listen. This could be a Super Bowl matchup.
It could be a
preview.
preview.
So the place is going to be rocking in Detroit. It's going to be loud, and it's going to be a great game, an absolute great game to watch.
a tough task to beat the Lions, and I don't think you can just rely on Josh Allen because he can't play defense too. So,
Oh, we can't.
all right, next up we have another potentially good game. We have Tampa, who's back on a roll, having some players come back a little healthier now. Chargers, they're dealing with some injuries. They're actually a little more banged up. They have some injuries at the running back position, wide receiver position, and I initially was actually going to pick Tampa to win this one just because of they're trending in the right direction. They're healthier. Chargers are kind of not trending down a little bit, but they're banged up and they're playing a lot of close games. But I'm going to go with the Chargers to win this one. I think their defense matches up really well against Tampa. I feel like this is just one of those games that Tampa loses often. And I think the Chargers, if they can start off the game hot on defense, they can kind of just control the time of possession. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bucks were able to outscore them in a shootout, but I think the Chargers can get to Tampa's offense and keep it close, maybe get a turnover, and I think the Chargers will win this one.
I'm picking Tampa, mainly because I need to pick against you. And I think this will be a close game. Tampa is
I
a
agree.
decent team,
I agree.
Usually.
It'll be a close game.
so I don't know. I can see it going both ways, but I'm just
Yeah.
going to pick Tampa.
All right.
All right. I'm going to pick the Chargers because they're going to win. That's why I'm picking them. They're well coached. They need to keep winning. Anyways, I'm taking the Chargers.
All right. Next up, we have another potentially really good game.
Yep.
We have the battle for Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh versus Philly. They're playing in Philly. I was debating this forever. This game I probably thought about more than any other game. You have a great coach versus a horrible coach. So I was leaning towards the Steelers. They're playing in Philly, which I don't give a huge edge to them on that one, but I give a little edge to Philly on that one.
A little, yeah.
Saquon, he plays great regardless, but he plays really well at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give the running game edge to the Eagles. I believe George Pickens is out, which is the wide receiver number 1 for the Steelers, which is going to hurt a little bit. Russell Wilson's been playing well, but it does hurt when your number 1 wide receiver is out.
Yeah, it does.
Both of these defenses are top 5 defenses. I could see this being even a low-scoring game, perhaps. Jalen Hurts has not been playing, mistake football. He's been keeping the turnovers very low, but he hasn't been dropping 300 yards either. And they're having locker room issues now. Again with A.J. Brown.
Same time as last year when the wheels fell off for Philadelphia.
Same time, which really was pushing me towards picking the Steelers. But I'm going to go with the Eagles, and they're at home. The run game, I think it's going to be close. I could really see the Steelers winning this one and just out-coaching them completely. Without their wide receiver, I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be, I think, a low-scoring game. There are some other stats I've heard that are kind of making me also lean into the Eagles' direction, but I'll let Jonathan give you a little more context on the stats that I've heard. So go ahead with your pick now.
I'm going to pick the Eagles. I think Saquon Barkley's going to save them here. I don't think he's going to put up crazy numbers because that defense is really, really good for the Steelers. But, yeah, the Eagles are 8-0 all-time versus the Steelers at home while playing in Philadelphia, which they are playing in Philadelphia. But Russell Wilson is 4-0 in Philadelphia and 6-0 versus the Eagles. So I don't know what to do here.
So something's got to give.
Something's got to happen. Or they might tie. I'm not sure.
So who's your pick?
But I'm picking the Eagles.
Okay.
Picking the
Slightly,
Eagles.
giving them a tiny, tiny edge.
I am picking the Eagles also. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. You got the Steelers' defense is number 5 or 6, I think, and
I think they're number 5.
number 5, and the
Eagles are number 4.
Eagles number 4 offense.
Yeah.
So they got a very good defense too. So I think they're kind of evenly matched teams, but I'm going to go with the Eagles because I think they really, really need to win this game. If I had my way, the Steelers would win by 40, and maybe they would fire the Eagles coach. I don't know. We can only hope.
Yeah. Oh, I would not be shocked, though, if something happens in this game where Tomlin just takes advantage of whatever his name is, Rigatoni or Sirianni or whatever the Eagles coach. Sirianni, yeah.
Yeah, because he's a horrible coach. I'm picking the Eagles, but I'll take the loss if the Steelers
it is
win.
very tempting to pick the Steelers. I'll tell you what, if George Pickens had been playing, I probably would have picked the Steelers to win. I really would have. But against that defense without your number 1 wide receiver, it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yes, it is.
Next, we have Packers at Seahawks. Seahawks, they're now in first place in the division. They've been really playing some good games together. They're playing at home against the Packers. I'm going to go with the Packers here. Overall, I just think they've definitely had a better team throughout the season. They do have a little bit of a better record, and their defense and offense is still pretty good. They've lost a couple games to the Lions, so 2 of their losses have been to the best. I really think the Lions are the best team in the NFL, and the Chiefs are up there too. But I think the Lions are the best team in the NFL, and 2 of them have been to the Lions here. I would love to pick the Seahawks because the Seahawks have a lot of fun history against the Packers in Seattle, where they come out on top. But if you just compare the 2 current rosters right now, the Packers are a better team, I believe, and I think they win this one.
Yep.
And they can handle the weather.
I actually have seen some people picking the Seahawks. I don't see it happening. The Packers are a very good team. Their division in general is incredible, but the Packers, they've got a good record, and the Seahawks are not a great team. They're just streaky. I think Packers come out on top.
I'm also picking the Packers. I think they're a better team, and I think they're going to win this game. So, going with the Packers.
All right, next up we have, speaking of an NFC North divisional game, we have one. Bears at Vikings. Ooh, the Bears are not feeling so good after last week. They're playing the Vikings. Vikings are playing good football. They're just playing good football. I think it could be a close game just because I'm telling you, those NFC North divisional games is the same thing with the AFC North. They're just these really weird close games, and sometimes these random upsets happen. And the Vikings are much better, so I'm going with the Vikings.
It was close. I actually thought about picking the Bears a little bit.
Oh, that's pretty dumb.
Really?
Well, thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Vikings. Well, last time they played, 3 weeks ago, they went into overtime.
I know.
And they got the ball first. They just choked it away they're going to... Honestly, they might just invent a new way to lose this week again because they're the Bears. They find some way to lose every single week.
The Vikings looked really good last week.
And the Vikings looked incredible.
Against the Falcons, yeah.
But
really good.
most people do. Their defense is bad. Vikings, I think, will win.
I'm also picking the Vikings because they're a much better team than Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago's just not playing real well right now. And yes, they are division rivals, but I don't see the Bears giving them much of a fight right now. The Bears really don't have much to fight for.
No, they don't.
Right? They're done. So the Vikings still have an outside shot at the number 1 seed if, the Lions lose a couple down the stretch here because they play the Vikings and the Lions play the last week of the season.
Yep.
So if the Lions happen to lose to the Bills on Sunday, then that opens the door for the Vikings. And they've been playing well. Vikings with the W.
Yep. And then we have a game, the second Monday Night Football game, which they should have flexed to Tuesday night. We have the Falcons at the Raiders. So we have the old Falcons quarterback from last year, Desmond Ridder, who you might not even remember, going against the Falcons with Kirk Cousins, who has thrown 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions the last few games.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of teams right now that I would pick the Falcons to beat, just with how they're playing. But this is one of those teams I will pick them to beat. I'll pick the Falcons to beat the Raiders. But who knows? They might lose this one too. If you throw 2 interceptions against the Raiders, you do give yourself a good chance of losing, even against a team like them. So they should just run the ball the whole game and not even give them a chance to throw it. Then they would still probably win that way. So I'll keep it short and simple. I think the Falcons are a little bit better than the Raiders, so they should win this game.
The only way I see the Raiders winning this game is that Brock Bowers just tears up that Falcons defense, which most people have been doing. But I'm going to pick the Falcons because they have to win this game to keep their playoff hopes alive.
It will be ugly. Falcons are going to win this game. I don't know what else to say about this game. It's not going to be
What
good.
a way to end the video. Yeah.
Right. Sorry about the end of this video, but this is really a bad game for Monday night. So I'm just going to take the Falcons and leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up this week. All right, so let me know what you guys think about your picks in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time.